Honorable President, worthy UN Secretary General, fellow members, very good morning. I thank you, Foreign Minister, Excellency Wang Yi, for convening this important open debate during China's presidency of the Security Council. Your leadership and presence today attests to China's steadfast commitment to multilateralism and the UN Charter. At a time of deepening divisions and growing disregard for international law, China's call for a strong UN-centered international system is most timely and vital. I also thank Secretary General for this valuable briefing and principled leadership. The UN Charter was born from a tragedy that wreaked immense havoc and suffering. We collectively pledged in the Charter to govern international relations in a manner that saves future generations from the scourge of war. The Charter is not merely a legal instrument. It is the moral foundation of the international order. It affirms the sovereignty, equality of states, prohibits the threat or use of force, calls for the peaceful settlement of disputes, upholds the right of peoples to self-determination, and entrusts this Council with primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. Mr. President, for Pakistan, these principles of the UN Charter are sacrosanct. They are the foundation of our foreign policy, the basis of our international engagement, and the guiding framework for our contribution to peace and security. Pakistan's commitment to the United Nations is therefore long-standing and principled. We have been among the leading contributors to UN peacekeeping in some of the world's most difficult theaters. We have championed in decolonization, self-determination, conflict prevention, sovereignty, equality, and international cooperation. Over the years, Pakistan has been a staunch advocate of pacific settlement of disputes. We are very grateful that the Security Council lent its full support to this cause by unanimously adopting Resolution 2788 presented by Pakistan in July 2025 on strengthening mechanism for the peaceful settlement of disputes. It reaffirmed a powerful truth. Diplomacy is not weakness, dialogue is not concession, peaceful settlement is not an option of last resort. It is the first duty of states under the Charter for promoting international peace and security. That convention guides Pakistan's approach to the present crisis in the Middle East. As a friendly neighbor of Iran and brotherly countries of the Gulf, and a country with long-standing ties of amity with the United States, Pakistan consistently stood for restraint, de-escalation, and a return to diplomacy. During my one-day visit to Beijing on 31st of March, at the invitation of my friend, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, Pakistan and China announced the 5-point initiative for regional peace and stability in the Gulf and Middle East region. Another prolonged conflict would serve no one. It would endanger regional peace, disrupt global energy flows, deepen humanitarian suffering, and strain an already fragile international order. The path forward lies in diplomacy. We have exerted our sincere efforts in facilitating a durable solution that results in lasting peace and stability in the region and keeps maritime routes open for all. We are continuing this noble endeavor with resolve and dedication. I thank the parties for the confidence reposed in Pakistan, and I thank all our partners, including China, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar, for their support. The entire world is watching. We must succeed in the interest of regional and global peace and security. Mr. President, the principle of peaceful settlement must apply with equal force to all long-standing disputes on this Council's agenda. For nearly 8 decades, the Jammu and Kashmir dispute has remained unresolved despite clear and multiple Security Council resolutions promising the Kashmiri people their right to self-determination. Durable peace in South Asia cannot be built on denial, unilateralism, or repression, nor can it coexist with the attempts to hold the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, a vital framework for water cooperation and regional stability. Mr. President, water must never be weaponized. Treaties must always be honored, and disputes must be resolved through adherence to the international law, dialogue and justice, and the implementation of relevant Security Council resolutions. The same fidelity to the Charter is required in Palestine. There can be no durable peace in the Middle East while occupation, collective punishment, forced displacement, and illegal expansion of settlements continue. The situation in Gaza and the West Bank is becoming increasingly volatile and demands our continuous attention. The momentum generated by the New York Conference on Two-State Solution and the Gaza Peace Plan presented by President Donald Trump, endorsed by Security Council Resolution 2803, must be sustained till its logical conclusion. Pakistan reaffirms its unwavering support for the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and to an independent, viable, contiguous state of Palestine based on pre-1967 borders with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. Mr. President, the crisis of the international system today is not caused by absence of principles. The principles are there and have been clearly spelled out and globally agreed. The crisis lies in their selective application. When sovereignty is defended in one case but disregarded in another, the chapter and the charter of UN is weakened. When occupation is condemned in one region but tolerated and even supported in another, justice is diminished. When Security Council resolutions are invoked selectively, the credibility of this Council is eroded. When powerful states act outside the law, smaller states are left no wonder whether the Charter protects all nations equally. Mr. President, this selectivity is very dangerous. It breeds mistrust, fuels grievances, encourages unilateralism, and weakens the very multilateral system we all claim to uphold. A UN-centered international system can only be strengthened through consistency, equity, and respect for law. Multilateralism cannot mean the management of global affairs by a few. It must mean the participation, voice, and dignity for all. Mr. President, this is why Pakistan supports comprehensive reform of the Security Council to make it more representative, democratic, transparent, accountable, and effective. Reform must not enlarge privilege or create new permanent seats of power. A reformed council must reflect the collective interests of the wider membership, particularly developing countries. An equitable reform based on increase in number of elected non-permanent seats allocated to regions together with improved working methods is the only feasible way forward. Mr. President, the purposes and principles of the Charter also require us to address the deeper drivers of insecurity: foreign occupation, denial of self-determination, poverty, inequality, racism, Islamophobia, hate speech, climate injustice, debt distress, and underdevelopment. Peace is not merely the silence of guns. Peace is the presence of justice, the protection of civilians, the dignity of people, the promise of development, and the hopes of equal rights to all. Mr. President, the United Nations remains indispensable. In need of reform, undoubtedly, but indispensable, the world needs a renewed commitment to the Charter. It needs a Security Council that prevents war, not merely debates on the wars, multilateralism that protects the weak, not merely accommodates the strong, diplomacy that acts before conflicts explode and generations suffer, justice that is not selective, peace that is not temporary, and law that is not optional. Mr. President, in a fractured world, the Charter remains our common language. In an age of confrontation, it remains our common shield. In moments of crisis, it remains our common path back to peace. Pakistan stands ready to work with all members of this Council to uphold the promises and principles of the United Nations Charter, strengthen the UN-centered international system, and build on equitable and just international order where power is restrained by law, disputes are resolved through dialogue and diplomacy, and peace is secured through justice. I thank you, Mr. President.
नायब वज़ीर-ए-आज़म मोहम्मद इसहाक़ डार का अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा सलामती काउंसिल में आलमी अमन और सलामती बरकरार रखने से मुतालिक मुबाहिसे से खिताब कहा, सिंतास मुआहदे की एकतरफा मुअत्तली तस्लीम नहीं करते। पाकिस्तान निहत्ते फ़लस्तीनियों के हुकूक़ का भी हामी है। आलमी सतह पर कवानीन का यकसा